Hello, everyone. My name is Riley Dexter Bowen. I am of Irish descent, and I'm going to treat today's topic, St. Patrick's Day, with the utmost respect. While I have my differences with the Holy Roman Catholic Church, it is a huge part of the legacy of my people and is the religion that my family has adhered to traditionally for generations. I want to do a solemn, straightforward, and informative deep dive into the history of St. Patrick's Day and the cultural relevance therein. Joining me today is my co-host, Blinky the Leprechaun.
Dirty holy hey the one hoy, hey, top of the morning to ya. Get your potatoes ready and kiss the blarney son, or you'll be tasting me shillelagh.
Thank you, Blinky. The first evidence of permanent human residence in Ireland starts around 10,500 BC, although there is evidence of human presence as early as 3100 BC, and finishes with the start of the historical record around 400 AD, after Roman colonization.
Or you'll be true in the telling, boyo, but don't be forgetting the land of the fae folk, what lies beyond the misty bridge of Silcase.
Blinky, please be serious. Traditionally, it was claimed by academics that a post-glacial land bridge existed between Britain and Ireland.
Oh yes, as I said to ye, the misty bridge of the Silcase, from where the fae folk weave their webs of magic.
Blinky, we talked about this. I wanted you on the episode as an expert on Irish culture, not mystical nonsense. This is a serious topic, and I want to handle it sensitively.
Oh, you listen here, boyo. Old Blinky's seen the Emerald Isles since the days of the old giant spiders and the master otter. Don't be talking down to me about me own island. Yes, you be wanting a Donnybrook.
Okay, I don't think this is going to work. Drew, just cut it.
You still be better be paying me in me pot of gold, lad. You Yankee fishmonger, you.
Oh my God, Blinky, fuck off.
Ah, fuck you.
Welcome back, you sexy people.
What?
I'm switching it up. I'm still switching it up every week. Thank you. Welcome back to Delete Everything Podcast, our pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
Pot of gold?
Except for it's full of just knowledge. It's a gold knowledge, solid gold knowledge, baby. And
full of cum.
This devolved immediately. Full of knowledge about the forgotten, deleted partial histories that you didn't know, or maybe you kind of knew, or whatever. We're going to tell you about it. Well, you can know every fucking fact about this thing, and we're going to tell you anyway, and you're going to learn something. I guarantee it.
Maybe.
So, I am St. Patrick Wall, your host, and joining me, as always, is my filthy little potato pagan begging to be converted to monotheism.
Riley Bowen.
Mm-hmm. Sexy boy. And hey, producer Drew's mic'd up too.
Yo.
I can't do two of these every week. It's just gonna always be producer Drew.
That's fine.
Is my other
I'm an afterthought.
potato ass bud guy.
Spud guy?
Spud guy. Mr. Spuds over here.
What do we start with every week? Thanking you guys for your comments and your reviews and your ratings. We appreciate that as always. I'm not going to go on quite as long of a rant this week as I did last week. Last week I did a bit of a rant concerning how you guys' interactions are what shows people that we're worth investing in. And if you like us, then you should want that because it makes us happy. So, take the time, please. Rate us, review us, give us 5 stars, say something nice about the show. On Spotify, you can leave individual comments on individual episodes, and we really like the hell out of that. We also have, social media that we're going to plug at the end of the show, but you can leave us you can write us a message directly, an email at deleteeverythingpodcast@gmail.com, and we respond directly to those. We'll tell you whatever. We'll respond to whatever it is that you say. Say that there should have been more men in the Night Witches episode. And you're offended.
I feel like we were underrepresented.
And you're offended. I'm a guy who's not Russian, and I feel like you should have talked about me.
I didn't feel like we talked about one single Irish American male in that episode, and I feel like I wanted more representation.
So, and we'll respond and say, hey, skip to a different episode then, idiot. At any rate, also our Patreon. I feel like we've been soft selling our Patreon, and I feel like that's kind of bad on us because our Patreon is fucking hysterical. It's a crazy, crazy place to just listen to us go on. If you like the parts where like either myself or Riley goes on a rant and just like is completely unleashed for a couple of minutes, that's Patreon. But like for 35, 40 minutes, I think we've even got like a couple of hour-long episodes.
And if you haven't heard us go on any rants, if you're like new to this experience, this is a good episode to tune in on because I got some things to say about St. Patrick and his business.
I thought about doing this. By the way, thank you, Billy Connolly, for the cameo in the intro.
Benny Connolly.
Billy Connolly, actor Billy Connolly. He was in the studio for that intro. I've definitely probably recognize his voice.
Really gracious of him to stop by.
Nice. He already left, so he has nothing else to say.
It's hard to keep. He's got a real tight timeline. It's hard to budget him in.
But I thought about doing the entire episode just in an Irish accent.
Just that 2-minute appearance cost us $400 and a bottle of whiskey.
Scotch, weirdly enough.
Oof.
I don't know why he picked that. He was like, "I'll take Johnny Walker."
Okay.
Blue.
Ooh. Okay. Well, I guess we should just kind of launch into this. So my name is Riley Bowen. Bowen is English or Welsh, but half of my family is the McCormicks on my mom's side. That's two mix in one name. It's particularly Irish thing. And I grew up in an Irish Catholic family outside of Detroit. So the American-Irish experience has always been very, very close to my heart. Although I'm often considered not a practicing Irishman. Well, because
it quit drinking.
Well, there's a goal. I did. I quit
the first sign.
I quit drinking. But listen, I drank enough. Okay, I drank enough for all of us.
What was your first sign that you had renounced your Irishness?
That's it. Yeah, I'm giving it back. Well, I applied for citizenship this past year, and they wouldn't let me in. But like I grew up.
What was
surrounded.
the rule on that? Why couldn't you? Do
it
that?
was like had to be my grandparent. Like my heritage is like a couple of generations back, and I had to be like within one or two. And I think I had three generations since my like great grandparents.
It has to be a great.
Yeah, I
think
think it was
later than a great.
I think it was like my grandfather's grandfather was from like Cork.
So you're saying if you have a great ancestor from Ireland, then you can be a
you can get like heritage citizenship. There are a lot of
Heyo, my great grandfather on my dad's side came here from Ireland.
They don't want any filthy Brazilians. Okay?
Triple citizenship, baby. Triple. I'm going for the big three.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
I wonder if I could.
America, Brazil, and Ireland. Those are the ones everyone aspires to.
I mean, if you guys can do it and I can't, well, fuck you. That's how I feel. But
we'll get gay married and then you can become a citizen.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah, see what I'm willing to do for you.
But in general, like I've always lived this like, I don't know, weird half-breed life of like being Irish, but also not being like super connected to my heritage.
I have some interesting quips about that whenever you're done.
Oh, yeah. One thing I've always adhered to ever since I started really getting into history was that I thought the Irishification of the St. Patrick's Day like ritual was always stupid as fuck. I've always hated St. Patrick's Day. And mind you, I have
think
actually
it's more the Americanization of
not
what
just,
was originally an Irish celebration. It got big here, but it was an Irish celebration before it came to America.
Was it?
It was.
Was it?
That's what I saw.
Was it?
That's what I learned.
Was it? Did you do the research today, buddy?
A little bit before I fell asleep.
Yeah? Okay. Well, we're going to get into that.
So boring.
Where was the first St. Patrick's Day celebration?
Cork.
Was it?
No.
Interesting.
You just said that because he just said Cork.
You're gonna be really surprised actually by where I say it's from, where the first St. Patrick's Day like parade was.
Oh, New York.
No,
you're
gonna be surprised.
Okay, I'm already surprised.
But in any case,
I'm gonna be surprised.
Having never been to Ireland and only having the
feel that feeling again.
Having only had like the American Irish adventure. You know, I've always like adventure. I've always had this like weird connection to the past of Ireland in a strange way. And I was raised Irish Catholic or Roman Catholic. And I've always thought like, okay, so St. Patrick's Day is about the conversion of Ireland and like the pagan cultures to Catholicism.
Yeah.
And I don't really care for Catholicism much. I think the imagery is great. I don't know if the lessons are so hot. So I've always felt like this like kind of
a lot of weird contradictions in that book.
Quite a few, yeah. But I always felt this weird like Yeah, I'm almost like I'm ashamed to say it. Like there's like a deep seated, no matter what, if you're fucking Irish, there's some shame attached to it, right? So like I've always wished that I had like a connection to.
I'm amazed you've had a divorce. You normally just stick it out till one of you dies.
I mean, would have gotten there, but one of us is gonna die a lot sooner. Than we should.
Yeah, no, I mean whether through murder or old age,
Right.
Stick through it.
Yeah,
You don't need to add guilt to guilt. Why did I get a divorce? Why?
no, I mean,
Susie!
there is something there. There is some like I'll just stick it out. And
Now she's with Billy McDonald.
I'll just hate every day of my life until we're dead. Like that's a very fucking Irish thing.
Yeah.
And that was like my whole family. Like my grandfather's name is James Reginald McCormick. He was a fucking stalwart ass Irish man.
Yeah.
He had 10 kids. You know, fucking
yeah.
like
Yep.
this
tracks.
This is a straightforward American Irish family.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I grew up with like all those lessons, but I was, I guess maybe fortunate enough or unfortunate enough to move away from that family when I was about 15. So like for the past 20 years, you know, I've been able to reflect on like all that kind of stuff without the immediate presence of the Irish
because you
family.
really don't project. Like I think Drew, were you and I talking about like whether Riley was Irish or not when we were talking about? So full disclosure,
I think so, yeah.
this episode was originally we were going to do the Troubles,
Yeah.
which if you don't know is the Northern Irish states that are still part of Great Britain, and all of the people in Northern Ireland. Some of them were British loyalists, some of them wanted to be part of Ireland, and then there was a lot of killing and bombing. And if you like to go to the bar and order an Irish car bomb, don't say that
Yeah, don't
in Ireland
don't do that.
or around an Irish person. So we were originally going to do that, but it was such a dense topic. And
It is a very nuanced topic, and shame on me for not being more aware of the level of nuance inherent in the topic.
Right. Same. I mean,
Yeah.
for all intents and purposes, even though I identify with my Brazilian culture more than my Irish heritage, my dad's side of the family is a little bit more muddy. My grandfather was Irish. Like his dad was from Ireland.
Mhm.
My grandmother was German, Italian, but there wasn't like my whole life knowing them. They had moved down from Massachusetts and were living in Florida in a retirement community. So like, there wasn't a lot of that projected, and like my dad's whole side of the family kind of just stayed in Mass, and I don't know really many of them. Whereas like growing up, I was in Brazil every year, every fucking summer, 3 months out of the year. So my mother's side of the family, I have a huge extended family. So I grew up with those people constantly. Not only that, my aunt, my mother's sister lived in the same city as us growing up in Louisiana. So
Well, I've got a similar sort of like a frame because my
Just when you're done.
I had a similar sort of like experience because
raise your hand, Drew. I'm kidding.
I'm sorry.
I had a similar sort of experience because on my mother's side, it's like a very, it's a very, it was weird to say. It's not like a fucking day glow green Irish family, but it's
Right.
just like a working class, like American Irish family
Right.
that is not afraid of its roots, bears its heritage very strongly. And then on my father's side, we were like Welsh, English, and
Yeah.
I don't know. Like we didn't really fucking worry about it. It was kind of just like whatever kind of suburban
Yeah.
American
Yeah.
life to live.
That's even before you said that. I was gonna say it's interesting that same thing. Half of my family is allegedly Irish. Like on my
Allegedly.
well, on my dad's side, but my grandfather, like we don't even really know where he was from necessarily. What the fuck? I was going somewhere with that.
Irish. The other side of your family
Irish.
is
Oh, so you were saying
Bulgarian. You look very Bulgarian. I could see you in a
Well,
tracksuit with a chain.
that. I mean, thank you.
We could look for you.
But but you were saying it's kind of muddy on your Irish side. And it's the same story with me, except that I'm not half Brazilian or
Yeah.
anything cool. I'm just fucking
But I mean, even if
English
you-
Welsh, like boring. My last name should be Owens. It's
Yeah.
not.
Okay.
Which is funny because that would actually make us we'd probably be related in that respect. Because Bowen is Welsh and it means of Owen. So if you were Owens, that would be the same thing.
I think
Well,
Wall. I think Wall is.
Which I'm-
Cousin?
Maybe.
I think Wall
shouldn't
is
have done all
even
that stuff.
originally Welsh. My parents did like a name. What do you call it? Like where you find the origins of your name. And I think it was originally Welsh. And then at some point migrated to. I used to have a guy, Kieran, who would come into my bar all the time from Ireland, and he would always be like, "Oh, the amount of Patrick Walls I know in Ireland. Like I couldn't count them with both hands and feet." And like he just, and I'm like, cool,
That's neat. Yeah.
But shame on me. Like, I mean, if you look, like, I've actually done my ancestry. And so on my mom's side of the family, like, is just Brazilian. You know, my mom came here at 30, came to the States, met my dad, you know, yada, yada, yada.
You're saying they fucked.
Obviously. But obviously on my mom's side of the family, if you keep going back, I mean, there's some French in there. There's obviously Portuguese in there, yada, yada, yada. If you look at my ancestry, Portugal and Ireland are lockstep. I mean, it's like 28% Portugal, 27% Irish.
Yeah.
And then it sort of devolves from there. And then there's like some indigenous and some Northern Africa and some Mediterranean in there, which is where I get this beautiful skin tone. But I've been so many places. I've never been to Ireland. I've been to Brazil more times than I can count. I've been to a lot of countries that I have no affiliation with in terms of genealogy. And I've never been to Ireland, and not for lack of wanting to go to Ireland, because it looks fucking beautiful. Everybody that I know that's been there had an amazing time and said it was an amazing place. And I don't know why I've just never prioritized that as a place to go. I should probably change that.
I've always like I don't know if other people get this. I'm sure
because I've even been to Portugal. I've been to Portugal too.
I'm sure it's a very common experience, but like knowing that I've got cultural heritage in like the UK, Britain, Ireland, Scotland. Anytime I see like a movie or like a travel log or a documentary done out there, I just feel this like, why aren't I there?
Yeah. Especially Wales is supposed to be gorgeous.
I should fucking live there. Plus, also Wales just looks like Hobbiton to me, and I just I want to say big, long, weird, fucked up words and just fucking smoke a pipe.
Their flag has a unicorn on it.
Cool.
That's how great those people are. They're like, I don't know a Welsh accent.
I feel
like it's just a fast Irish accent.
I think it's a whole fucking different language.
Yeah.
But also,
I mean, Welsh itself is.
Welsh is its own language, and it's still like operational. And then, but also like Gaelic is still a usable language. Like it's not like it's not Latin, you know?
Right. I mean, if you go to like Dublin or like, big city in Ireland, you're not going to probably hear many people speaking Gaelic. But I know that like going like kind of the countrysides and stuff like that, there's still a lot of people who speak Gaelic like exclusively.
I think there's something inherent too, and like I know so many people who are so proud of their Irish heritage, and they're like, yeah, I went to the motherland and I got the fucking tartan and the flag, and I met a bunch of people and I told them, yeah, my family's from here. And in my head, every time I meet those people, I'm like, they probably fucking hated you. They probably thought you were a fucking touristy piece of shit. And like, I don't want to do that. Like,
well, and like I said, I think maybe if my grandparents had stayed in Massachusetts, and maybe if like some fucking twist of fate, my parents had gone up there after I was born, and I was raised in Massachusetts, around that entire side of like,
that might be
my
grandfather
had several siblings, and they all had, children and grandchildren and stuff. And so if I had been around that side of the family, I feel like there was bound to be at least one or two, if not many of more than that, that were like very like gung ho fucking Irish heritage. But like, I didn't see any of that because we'd visit my grandparents in fucking Fort Lauderdale, just outside of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, in their retirement community. And they're just like, they didn't operate that way. You know what I mean? Like I don't remember my grandfather really. I mean, he drank like an Irishman, but other than that, I don't.
Yeah, mine too. Yeah, James McCormick could put him back.
Yeah, Lawrence Wall too.
Yeah,
Lawrence Wall Sr.
That's what you do. Yeah. But in any case, so rather than delving deep into the political turmoils of a country that we all feel lightly disconnected from, and in general just disrespecting the shit out of it by doing that without like the proper amount of research, we decided to just disrespect Ireland in a whole different way.
Oh, great. We could have just been doing the Troubles. I could have been quoting the Cranberries Zombie.
Yeah.
Singing U2 Sunday Bloody Sunday. Like I could have just been with their tanks and their bums.
How is your...
And their bums.
You do a good Dolores O'Riordan?
Yeah.
And their guns.
Can you do a good Dolores O'Riordan?
Is that not what she sounds like?
No, that was Billy Connolly doing...
That was more Liam Neeson.
With their tanks and their bones and their guns in your head.
That's a good one. Riley's got a good Dolores O'Riordan.
Yeah, I'm a big Cranberries fan, actually. I think Linger is like one of the best fucking songs ever written, actually. It's a
great song.
Did you know that fucking Dolores O'Riordan...
She was young as shit. She brought this up so many times.
I know, I probably have. But I don't know if Drew knows this. She fucking auditioned for the band The Cranberries with the song Linger that she wrote when she was fucking 16.
I think that we talked about this separate from the podcast.
That makes me crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I'm like a failed musician, basically.
Yeah, hey, I'm failed everything. So
remember when I tried welding?
But okay, so
the joke in, we can cut this out, but the joke in nursing school, because it sucks ass, and I like school in general, but I fucking hated nursing school. We all did. Every fucking time I went in there, I'm like, fuck this. I'm going to fucking Tulsa welding school. So then, like in our group chat, I'd send like the Tulsa welding. I think they're debunked now, or they're shut down now. But I'd send
there was a lot of bullshit.
I'd send
with
the
that.
ad for like every time everybody bombed a test or something. I'd send the ad in our group chat. So.
Why is every like weird internet university named after something in like New Mexico?
I don't know. That's weird. Yeah.
Or Arizona,
Tulsa's
or
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma, with the
Yeah.
West. It's
don't know.
Tulsa, Phoenix, College, Santa Fe.
Oh yeah, you're not wrong.
They're all fucking Western.
We have a Santa Fe River right down the road from us. So
Yeah,
maybe
but
it's
why?
that. I don't know.
Yeah,
It means Saint Faith.
interesting.
Did you not know that?
No, I did not. But that's a good band name, probably, if you were gonna do like a Creed cover band.
Saint Faith.
Saint Faith.
Please don't.
It is a cool band name.
Quick, do Scott Stapp doing Zombie by Cranberries.
You can do it.
Where there are tanks and there are bombs, and there are bombs, and there are guns in your head. They are dying.
All right, thumbs down on that. But good job.
You asked.
No,
I
it's just
did what
thumbs
you
down
asked.
because it's like now I'm sad that I asked you to do it, but you did a good job. Okay, so one thing I really wanted to get into before we actually talk about the holiday of St. Patrick's Day is the country of Ireland itself. When we're doing like fully encompassing histories, you kind of start at the bottom and work your way to the present day.
Yeah.
By the bottom, I mean the past. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Time
Sure.
flows like a river. It's linear. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Time is a flat circle.
I'm agreeing with everything you say.
Okay. So anyway,
That's the opposite of what you just said. You said it flowed like a river, and then you said it was a flat circle.
yeah. Also that it's linear. Rivers. I don't know.
Whatever.
Time.
I'm gonna cut part of this out and make you look stupid.
Cut the whole fucking thing out. But okay, so Ireland was, or really the entire British Isle system was first documented, as far as we can tell, by documentarians in history around 325 BC by the Greek navigator Pytheas, who explored the coastal region of Britain around 325 BC. However, there may be some additional information on Britain in the Ora Maritima, a text which is now lost, but which is incorporated in the writings of the later author Venus, and Julius Caesar also wrote of Britain in about 50 BC. We've talked about Julius Caesar kind of cutting a swath through Europe as part of his whole, his whole thing.
I did learn about the Roman soldiers when they first got to the Irish islands and the people who were there and them being absolutely fucking frightened and intimidated by.
Yeah.
those
So
people.
we're setting the scene here. Okay. So when
I mean, that was originally Viking territory.
yeah. So when Pytheas first did his documentation of the British Isles, we're talking dark, dismal, foggy, damp, moggy, like moggy, dark, dismal, damp, like muggy, fucking swampland in many areas.
Soggy, foggy, and muggy. You could just say moggy.
Soggy, foggy, moggy.
Yeah,
Was
moggy.
it sticky, gooey?
Icky, sticky, stinky, slappy,
Slimy,
gooey, ooey,
gooey, gloopy.
sad,
runny.
sad. But so when Pytheas was first doing his documentation, it's like rough seas, rough shore, rocky coastline, a lot of mud and a lot of real weird fucking people living on these islands.
Yeah, like Irish bogs.
Yeah, exactly. Because as far as
Cold.
as far as the entirety of Europe is concerned, this is the end of the world.
Yeah.
Not just that, but it's 20 miles off the coast of the end of the world.
It kind of is.
And
I mean,
then
you keep going north from there.
If you get past England proper, it's another 98 nautical miles to fucking Ireland.
Yeah.
So that's a whole nother world on
Sure.
itself. It's a land beyond in this respect. Because when the Roman soldiers, they get to France and then they're like, oh, there's a fucking island out there. Let's get out there. They had a rough time on England. The first couple of invasions, they didn't even make it to Ireland.
Right.
Ireland doesn't even have written recorded history in any respect until 40 AD.
Okay.
So
Those Vikings weren't very good about writing stuff down.
well,
in general.
the Vikings barely fucking touched Ireland. They're blocked essentially by Scotland and England,
Mhm.
and then getting to Ireland, it's like they got a natural barrier.
Mhm.
And there's already all this shit going on in England,
Okay.
right? And then also you got to figure when we're talking about the Vikings for a long time. Vikings didn't even fuck with those islands because there was nothing there but crazy savages.
Well, but wait,
and fucking,
where did the savages come from? I thought they were all descended from Vikings.
Well, you could say that, But the modern Viking that we're talking about would be like an Anglo-Saxon sort of amalgam. But really, they'd be more descended from like Celts and Picts, which would already be predominant tribes living in Europe at the time, around like France.
Okay.
Like there are Celts in France, there are Celts in England.
Right,
Exactly.
The Celts originally came from
Yeah. So the Celts, the Gauls,
continental
all these,
Europe.
Yeah, these are all, polytheistic pagan cultures that have listed, for like thousands of years.
I would put Vikings more in the Nordic category.
Yeah, exactly. When Vikings also were barely even doing their thing around the time that the Gauls and the Celts were, transferring back
But
and forth
early
from
England was very fucking Viking.
Well, yeah, but that was after Roman colonization.
Oh,
Like the Vikings didn't even start.
Fair.
The Vikings didn't even start doing real like seafaring until they figured out how to do like foggy day nautical shit.
Right, we're talking about like 300 AD.
Yeah, there's something about a moonstone or something. I don't know how to sail, but they did. They figured it out. But it's like there was a whole barrier with the Vikings where they couldn't cross like the English Channel because it was 20 miles. They can't see shit. They can't like make their way anywhere down the coast on the ocean at night with like fucking fog and clouds because they can't navigate by the moon. And then they figured out a system of being able to do that.
Okay.
Which was later. It was after Roman colonization. There was already like all kinds of shit going on in England. There were castles, there was gold, there was fucking monks and all kinds of stuff going on. So famously, Julius Caesar cuts like this horrifying bloody swath through Europe, going from the Germanic areas, Austria, Germany, all that, cutting into France, and really like killing millions of people on the way. This is like a horrifying mass slaughter of just anyone. But he's taken over a continent.
Yeah.
Like that's his whole thing. He's trying to like get really, really famous he was already famous in Rome, but he wanted like fucking big, crazy fame, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know traditionally, historically, he had a lot of trouble initially with the Celts on the European continent.
Yeah, because they're fucking crazy.
And the Gallic tribes too?
Yeah, the Gauls and the Celts and the Picts.
Well, the Celts were crazy. The Celts had the short swords and the little shields.
They were all using like bronze swords and shit. It was all very primitive.
Literally run into battle like there are stories about like the women exposing their breasts and crying, like fucking chanting fucking spells at the sun when their lovers died, and then grabbing their swords and fucking running into battle too. Like
that's kind of what I wanted
to
get into, because if you get into these native polytheistic religions, you have like it's all very earth based. The tree spirits, water spirits. And it wasn't until the Romans figured out how to like fortify correctly, and then that's when they started beating them. Was that they would like build a whole fucking base, like an entire city overnight. That's exactly what they would do. They would make like a big heavy garrison. Yeah. Because the Celts and the Gauls, they've been living in like tudic forests in like fucking let's say France.
Right.
Like
some Robin Hood shit.
Yeah, you show up in northern France, and there's a bunch of people who are fucking living just fine, hunting, fishing, and we're talking thousands of people, not like small colonies.
In little huts and like tree houses and shit.
Very similar to like when they're doing westward.
They're similar to Ewoks.
Yeah. I was gonna say Native Americans. Like, let's not do that. But it's very similar to like the westward expansion in the United States. It's just you have all these like very successful,
a lot of
like
French. I just insulted all the French Celts out there.
I mean, not many left. So
exactly.
I mean, this whole thing is very much like similar to Native American genocide.
Yeah.
Because the Celts, the Picts, there fucking aren't any of those left in France. There are very few left in Britain, and the ones that are left in Ireland, because Ireland was the furthest and most difficult
the last
place to colonize.
Yeah,
exactly. So for forever, Ireland is this strange, dark, shrouded in mystery, like fucking like pagan island off to the end of the world.
It's like the Endor of Earth.
Yes, the forest moon of Endor. I think
that's
you mean.
That's where the Ewoks live.
Yeah, it's the forest moon of Endor.
You mean the Celts?
The actual planet of Endor. There's not a lot going on. It was the moon, the forest moon.
Yeah, that's right. You're
right. It's just like that. That's in fact, from now on, we're specifically going to equate the forest moon of Endor to the real country of Ireland.
We already got a Hobbiton reference in there, so we're good.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
Yeah, I was here for
You
it.
haven't done the last few, I don't think.
What?
I did the one for Night Witches.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
He said Hobbit.
Oh, you know what I
That
should have
was him.
said when I was saying that like the Welsh had like crazy big long words? I should have said, you know, like Bilbo Labingi.
Damn it.
Damn, missed that opportunity. So like Ireland is going through its own
There's probably an Inn of the Prancing Pony somewhere in Ireland
110,000%.
before those fucking books were written. It's been there since fucking 1300. Drew's microphone stand needs some Blue Chew. Type in promo code delete everything boners. Undelete your boners.
Delete my meat.
No, we don't want the Blue Chew doesn't delete your meat.
Undelete my meat.
Undelete my meat.
Unbreak my heart.
Say I'll get boners again.
That's fine.
So until about 4000 BC, there was this area of land between France and Britain. It was
Say
called
betwixt.
betwixt.
Thank you.
Betwixt the lands of France and Britain, there was this swampy, marshy area known as Doggerland, like where the English Channel is now. It wasn't there, but there were colonizable, livable, farmable, like marshlands between France and England until about 4000 BC.
What
Around
was
4000 BC, you had rising tides due to like climate change. That wiped that out.
Did you, when you were doing your research, and I think I know the answer. Ireland, what was that called before it was Ireland? Like Hibernia or some shit like that?
Yeah, some shit like that.
Yeah.
I didn't actually have anything come up, which is annoying.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But it's whatever the Romans called it. They'd be like, crazy island.
Yeah, I think it was like Hibernia or some weird shit like that.
I did find out what the romanization of the name Patrick would be.
What is that?
Patricio.
Okay.
Hibernia.
It was Patricius.
Patricius. Patricius O'Neilsius.
Patricius.
Hibernia is on a list of ancient names. for-
Hibernia it is then.
Yeah.
So between from around like the year 4000 BC, you had this big area called Doggerland. So like there was no British Isles. It would just be like mountainous areas.
Mhm.
And then Doggerland got wiped out by rising tides, which left like all of these. It would have been one people essentially from France into England,
Okay.
and then into Ireland, where you get all your Picts and Gauls and all that.
Yeah, or probably Gallic or.
So by the time the Romans are
Celtics.
coming through, you've got the same culture in a way, but separated by several thousand years and about 20 miles of water. So
Okay.
that's where you get like these strange, maybe not strange is the wrong word, but like these very unique differences in the polytheistic cultures of France and then England and then Ireland.
Okay.
Ireland itself being now 120 miles from France.
Right.
At a time when 100 miles was a pretty fucking
Decent
pretty,
little.
pretty decent. Oh, actually, more than that because I didn't count for Britain being in the middle there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
a decent sized island there, bud.
yeah, it's a big one, almost like a whole country or something.
Couple different ones depending on who you talk to.
Yeah, so you get like some differential cultures too on England and then on Ireland, but they're kind of evolving around the same time. You get a lot of piracy coming out of Ireland.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of attacks on tribes on the British mainland because you got a bunch of crazy fucks living on this big island out here.
Again, kind of Viking activities.
Yes, they were the most Viking-like in the area,
Right.
but then again, it's also almost 100 miles, so that's like a big-ass voyage.
Mm-hmm.
5 hours or some shit of like really, really hauling ass.
Yeah, you get 30 guys with long oars. You can
Yeah,
get
well,
there
you can
pretty
do
fast.
it, but like it's pretty crazy.
Okay.
So when the Romans invade and then they actually make bases in England proper and
Mhm.
Wales and Britannia,
Mm-hmm.
whatever the fuck they called it back then. Anglaterra?
I don't know what.
Anglaterra?
Is
So,
that a thing?
but
Sure.
when they started doing that, like the Romans are almost like, maybe don't fuck with that island over there,
Mhm.
which just gives the Irish more opportunities to invade and take shit and
Like I said, I
do
know
very Viking-like things.
I know one of the videos I watched was they talked briefly about like when the Romans first got to Hibernia at the time, and these fucking people were so wild they were like, "Oh my god, get back on the fucking boat, get the fuck out of here!"
Fuck this shit.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, I mean, dude, if you're looking at like the way these tribes existed, this isn't fucking like civilized cutesy shit. These are painted faces,
Yeah.
wearing the heads of their enemies and shit.
Saint
Like,
Patrick was a slave.
yes, exactly. That's where we're getting to.
Yeah.
Like the cultures in Ireland, there's some peaceful tribes, but like there are also some that count the heads of their enemies as usable gifts in marriage.
Right. Yes, absolutely.
It's like you go kill a man, take his head, and then you bring it back and give it to a woman, and they'll be like, okay, we can fuck.
Yeah,
that's nice.
Yeah.
Hella red wedding style.
Yeah, like the seals, like seal tribes out there, and then the Picts and the Celts and different stuff going on. But like,
what did seals do?
Seals are huge in Irish mythology in general because there are thousands and thousands of them all around the island. Like Ireland is like one of the big seal habitats in the world. Not like the Navy SEALs.
What? Why? What was that?
Baby!
Yeah. It's crazy that they went from composing that song to killing Bin Laden.
Yeah.
I mean, seals are pretty badass.
Very versatile.
God damn it.
Eating fish, singing Kiss from a Rose, killing terrorists. That's their whole MO.
But yeah, seals and otters are like a huge thing. Like the legend of the Selkies in Ireland is kind of like mermaids, but seals. Yeah. Essentially. More mystical. A lot of magic on the island. It's like kind of their whole shit.
I think it's still that way.
But there are tribes in Ireland called the Seal tribe that was like based specifically around like harvesting them, kind of like Inuits.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
So the late Iron Age in Ireland was kind of where, because they had, the Copper Age, they had and then the Iron Age, Bronze, and then Iron Age, because they were becoming more advanced. But it was
all of Europe. I feel like Ireland must have been like the New Zealand of the British Isles.
It is very similar in that respect.
That like everybody else was in the Iron Age like 30 years before, and then like in Ireland, be like, look at this new fucking thing I got. And everybody like down in France is like, fucking idiots.
I kind of feel like
I've had one of these swords that's passed down from my dad.
I feel like it would be like, because a lot of these religions are very druidic, so where in England you'd get your Stonehenge, on Ireland you had very similar sort of stone structures, but they would mostly be tombs or cairns.
Right.
There'd be like big religious sites of building.
Sure.
But I kind of feel like they're like almost like the little brother, like they'd like catch up, they'd like see like, hey, what's that henge you guys got going over there? We can do that. What's it for? Bodies or something? But like, yeah, so
we got some creepy barrows in the mountains that we could do that in.
Yeah, they fucking paddle over one day to, rape and pillage and kill. And and like, hey, what are all these shiny rocks you guys got? What's this?
Inspiration can come from anywhere.
Exactly.
Bloody battlefield with shiny rocks on it.
But around the time they get to the late Iron Age is when the Romans invade, right? And it saw a sizable change in human activity in Ireland. Now, this isn't documented in any sort of like a paper trail way, but through what's that thing that Indiana Jones does? Yeah, archaeology. This guy, Thomas Charles Edwards, coined the phrase the Irish Dark Age to refer to a period of apparent economic and cultural stagnation in what would be late prehistoric Ireland.
Okay.
Like we're going from 100 BC to 380. So literally the time in which the Romans have colonized is not fucking great for Ireland. There's a lot of famine. There's, disease, war, whatever's going on, but it all kind of steamrolls into this.
Go figure. Around a warring occupational force made things worse for people.
Yeah, right.
Weird.
What? Didn't advance their technology or culture, and like
people were doing just fine, and then these guys show up with their tanks and their bombs and their guns, and then
they're taking your head.
In their head, they're dying.
Okay. But anyway, so this guy, Thomas Charles Edwards, he used the phrase the Irish Dark Age to describe a gap in the archaeological record coinciding with the Roman Empire in Britain and continental Europe. Charles Edwards notes the lack of continuity between the people of the 2nd century that were recorded by Ptolemy and our guy Pythias, and the writings in the 5th century that began again with recording the history of Ireland. So there's just this like huge gap of about 400 fucking years.
Okay.
Where no one knows what the fuck is going on in Ireland.
I haven't thought about Ptolemy in forever.
Ptolemy?
Been a while since I barely even knew him.
Ptolemy. I don't even know him. I don't know. But yeah, so Ptolemy wrote about a lot of shit too.
I'm not cutting that
out. Anyway, the suggestion was that the decrease in agricultural productivity might be due to a large-scale export of slaves to Rome and Britain.
Sure.
So you figure, okay, so now Rome has England.
Yeah.
Right? They're like, there's an island over there. They're not really doing shit. Not much in the way of exports. But you know what we could do is enslave them.
Yeah.
So they were just kind of using it as a human farm.
Okay.
You know, you roll over, capture some slaves, roll on back. Too much trouble to conquer. Way too hard to conquer. But you could definitely roll up the coast, grab people out of a village, take them back to be slaves.
Grab children spearing seals. And
you know.
Okay.
This is what my father likes to reference when he's being vaguely racist.
Oh.
Oh, he doesn't like the Italians.
No. He's like, oh, well, we were Irish and we were slaves too.
Oh, I hate that shit.
Yeah, me too.
I hate that, but
I don't talk to him.
That's not even usually what they're referring.
to.
They're usually doing the like the Black Irish thing in the Caribbean.
They're doing Irish indentured servants that came over here during the potato famine.
That's it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but like then
Well,
there's this. Everyone's been a slave at some point. Every culture's been enslaved.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I don't talk to him, just to be clear.
There's a difference.
Just bring it out.
There's a difference between going back 2,000 years and going back 150, though. That's people remember stuff more when it just happened a little bit ago.
Other indicators of something fucky happening around hundreds of ADs.
But go on.
Between 100 BC and 480. The things that have marked a decline in human settlement activity. Pollen data extracted from Irish bogs indicate a decrease in human impact on plant life in the bogs in the 3rd century, and specifically the impact of human activity upon the flora around the bogs from which the pollen came was less between 200 BC and 8300.
I wonder, okay, so here's where we get back into sort of Roman warfare around that time, in that they would roll up with thousands of people. And like I said, they would just deforest an entire area to build like a fort overnight.
Yeah. And that is the theory of what happened with the Irish Dark Age, which is then immediately replaced by the Golden Age of Rome and Britain.
So I wonder if this pollen data was because while they're trying to do shit in Hibernia, they're like, there's a forest. We could turn that into a whole thing.
Yeah, and like
bring the boys.
There are many, many indicators that the Romans had a real fucking hard time trying to do shit in Ireland. But in order for that to be the truth, they had to attempt to do some shit in Ireland.
Right.
You know, so like
I mean, famously Roman soldiers carried their swords and spears and shields and an axe.
Yeah.
They were fucking
ready to go.
Architects and laborers and soldiers all rolled
up.
Legitimately.
Yeah, so they'd roll up on the coast and they would fucks with some shits. They'd fucks with shits for a while until, you know, the locals were like, hey, get the fuck out. And then there'd be a war, you know, and drive them right off the coast. But they would keep trying because it's the fucking Roman Empire. That's sort of what they did.
Their job.
Until they give up, which is, you know, like how you talk about like Hadrian's Wall, you know, in northern England and shit. Just be like, we're not going to go up there
You're
anymore.
also talking about kind of the end of the Roman Empire, too.
Yeah, they were not doing so hot, actually. Specifically, I believe it was 400 AD. 400 AD?
Was that accurate? I'm
gonna take a look.
The decline?
In the 400s, Rome is defeated and sacked by Alaric I, leader of the Visigoths.
Okay.
So it's 410 AD.
So, I mean, you're talking about, I want to say, well into the decline of the Roman Empire.
Yeah. So, I mean, things were already not doing so hot. They had to do a lot of cutbacks. They had to pull back from the coast into Europe. They had to give up a lot of towns. Then eventually the Visigoths are fucking taking them in the heart in Rome. You know?
Yeah.
So as Roman Britain was collapsing politically because of these exact things, as Roman Britain...
a lot of S's to things today.
You really are.
Sorry, my brain's not working, I was saying.
You're doing great.
As Roman Britain...
My brain hurt.
As Roman Britain collapsed politically, there were settlements by Irish people and leaders in Wales and Western Britain. There were Irish burials and things of that like recorded from archaeologists all up and down the coast on the west coast of England. Some proto-historic records began to appear during this period, like early Irish literature was it wasn't really written down until like the medieval periods, but it got into the culture of England proper.
By the way, most historians agree that the Roman Empire began to decline in the 2nd century AD, so the 100s.
Yeah, so like
with the ultimate fall being in the 5th century in the 400s.
Right.
476.
So what you can look at here the
Western.
I think what's
Roman
pretty clear, it's pretty clear to see that England's taken, and there is a whole empire of Roman shit going on in England for a long time. You know, like really changed the face of the culture there. definitely took them out of a certain form of Dark Age and then put them right back into another form of Dark Age when they left. But like, there's all kinds of history of people in England finding Roman ruins and shit like that. I mean, like 150 years after the Romans left, no one had any memory of them. There was no record of them being like there, but there were all of these like big totemic temples and shit that they had built that people thought of as like, oh, the gods must have left these.
Right.
Such an interesting concept, that entire culture. And
you also have to, so after the Roman Empire, you had a lot of Germanic tribes like the Visigoths coming in, and you know, all those fucking Huns were all very Bernie. They were super Bernie guys.
What were you saying?
It's just an interesting concept. Like you said, that the Roman presence was basically forgotten after
and
a few generations.
Because all those Germanic tribes were fucking slash and burn and hack and destroy. Like that. I mean,
yeah.
Well, I mean, like you'd figure that would be through like main Europe for sure. Like as the Romans pulled back from like France and Germany and stuff and started centralizing themselves. Yeah, there's a lot of hacky slashy Germanic tribes.
Well, so the Western Roman Empire fell in 476 AD.
Yeah, but at the time,
and that
still
paved the way for all those Germanic, all the fucking Visigoths and the Franks,
and they had paved roads at that point too, so they could really make it places. But like talking about England, you know,
So
it's almost like they just get abandoned.
They probably pulled. I'm telling you,
Like they fucking pulled
all
out.
those Germanic tribes probably pulled up all the roads. Fucking the Romans were like, oh, let's make a brick road all the way to England,
So-
and then
But when the Romans like pull out of England, they just like, all right, well, bye, and they're fucking out.
yeah,
You know, and the Inglavic, the Picts, and whatever is left there, they had already been working under Christianity at that point because Rome had already started doing the conversion into Catholicism. So now you've got Christianity in England, right? But still, at this point, Ireland pretty much fucking out of bounds.
pagan as fuck.
Still pagan as shit, and stays that way for a long time.
Yeah.
Which brings us to our guy, one Mr. St. Patrick.
What was his real name?
His name was
Bilbo Labingi.
Bill.
We missed a good opportunity to plug the name of the show, delete everything. That's what I was getting at.
Oh, yeah, the Germans with the Germanic tribes
They were deleting everything.
deleting all the Roman shit that they left behind. St. Patrick's full name, actual real name, was Maewyn Succat.
Maewyn Succat.
Maewyn Succat. Maewyn, which is a very Welsh
It's a very Maewyn
name.
Maybe Maewyn.
Maewyn.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like from Maui?
No, I mean like Maewyn. Like said Maewyn.
Oh, I think that's pronounced Maewyn.
It could be Maewyn.
Could be. Succat, Succat.
I do
don't
not know how to
that
do
would-
pronunciations of that shit at all.
I don't know how that would be.
Real name is believed to be Maewyn Succat, and he
That's not an accurate.
That's not accurate. That guy's
God
no
damn
better than we are.
His
God
real
damn it.
name is believed to be Maewyn Succat. It's very Welsh sound. It's very Welsh spelling, at least. Which I mean makes sense because he was born in what is now Britain.
Yeah, he was born
When
in
the
Britain
Romans were
in
there.
386 AD, right
Right,
before the Romans are pulling out.
Mm-hmm.
Some sources say his birth name was Maewyn Succat. His father's name was Calpurnius, who was a deacon from a Roman family.
I was going to say that's a very
Yeah,
Roman name.
Very, very Roman. So he's descended from Romans.
Okay.
His mother's was named Conchessa and
Also very Roman.
was a relative of Saint Martin of Tours, who we all know is the patron saint of Old City Tours and horse and carriage rides.
Yeah, bicycle bars.
Yes.
Now I'm really looking up what he's the patron saint of.
But St. Patrick, or Maewyn, was kidnapped by Irish raiders at age 16. So what is that? 390. So about around the year 400 AD.
Right. Okay.
You know, he gets captured by Irish raiders and he's taken to Ireland as a slave. But he escaped after 6 years in slavery, after years of dreaming and plotting.
Saint Martin of Tours, by the way, patron saint of soldiers, beggars, and winemakers.
Ah.
Feel like everybody kind of falls into one of those, at least.
So he survived a difficult journey.
Oh my God, hang on, wait, there's more. I'm sorry, but this fucking shit is hilarious. Groups he's the patron saint of, right? Beggars, soldiers, conscientious objectors,
Nice.
tailors and wool weavers, vintners and innkeepers,
Mm-hmm.
fucking geese for some reason,
Patron saint of geese.
the U.S. Army Quartermaster Corps,
All right.
and reformed alcoholics. So, like I said, we all fall under one of them.
Saint Martin of Martin.
Damn it, Gina.
So anyway, so Maewyn Succat, right? He's so he survives the journey back to Britain. He reunites with his family. When he had been abducted, he was on the path of, what's that shit where you don't believe in God?
Atheism.
That's it. So he was.
Took me a second, but I got it.
What's
Put me
that
on
thing
the
where you don't
spot.
believe in that thing that doesn't exist?
I had to get up. You. That was the equivalent of like making me get up to solve a problem on the board while I have a boner.
Yeah.
So, give me a second to regroup. Teach.
That was always my favorite thing at school because I would just get up proud.
Would you?
Yeah.
And just walk over there. Hey,
Oh, no.
everybody, don't
That's
act
some
like you're not
balls.
impressed, right?
That's impressive.
Look
No.
at Tara.
I spent all of like
Not at all. I would just be like, I can't get up. I have a boner.
Jessica looks really hot today.
No, I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. I just I'm
Seventh grade
Drawing
gym.
her to trapper
fucking
keeper.
15. I got a boner. I don't know what to say. So anyway, so he was verging on atheism.
Neither of you did the waistband tuck
What was the? Of course, everyone did.
on the way
Blow
up
up
on
my
the way
belly
up
button,
out of
yeah.
your desk.
Yeah.
Which I feel like every teacher had to be able to identify. I mean, if
Of-
you've been teaching long enough,
immediately.
you're like, oh boy.
Do you think they?
You know how many
But-
boners you see as a teacher? Way too many.
As middle school and high school for sure.
Yeah.
Do you think they like looked around, starting the class, like which kid's got a boner right now? Like, they're gonna make him come up to the fucking board.
Patrick's staring at Jessica right, drawing
He's
at her trapper
sweating
keeper.
hard. Let's make him come
Definitely
up.
got a boner. Patrick, can you come up and solve this problem?
No,
And then I'd get
please.
up and try and do this quick swoop as I was getting out of the desk.
Yep.
Anyway, Maewyn Succat, right? He's running on atheism.
Late-
Running on atheism.
Ladies, if you have a boyfriend or a man that you're talking to, ask him about waistband boners. We all know it. Every man knows it. Just like every man's helicoptered in the mirror.
There are no ladies listening to this.
Fair.
Your mom is.
You know, oh, you fucking got me, bro.
That was actually a legitimate your mom joke, too.
That was good. That was good.
Because she really is.
So anyway, so this motherfucker gets caught by the Irish. He's an atheist. He becomes a slave. They slave him up real good.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's doing out there.
I do.
Apparently he's farming,
He was a shepherd for 6 years
right?
in the middle of Ireland by himself.
which is where you get that imagery of St. Patrick's with the shepherd's hook,
Yep.
right?
And that's where he found God because he was all by himself in the.
And there you go.
You gotta find somebody after 6 years.
I watched a video.
I mean, if it's just you and a bunch of sheep, you either find God or
You're fucking.
you're fucking those sheep.
Let's be honest, you can do both.
Yeah, you can.
That's true.
He's like, oh God,
We're not
oh
mutually
God.
exclusive.
Wow.
I think I was talking about this. I think I was talking about this in the group chat.
St.
About,
Patrick of sheep fuckery.
he might be the patron saint of that.
Oh, geez.
Was I talking about this in the group chat that I was watching one video and then it got really like religious real quick?
Yeah.
And the guy kept saying that.
He didn't fuck the sheep. He didn't fuck the sheep. He kept saying it.
No, he kept saying like, he was out here for 6 years and, had only God to rely on. And I'm like, unless God was delivering him fucking sandwiches, I feel like he probably had to rely on more than just God.
Yeah, probably whoever enslaved him. Because, like, if somebody takes you from your place and just puts you in the middle of nowhere with a bunch of sheep, I don't think they enslaved you. They just, like, gave you some cool new digs.
No, I'm pretty sure you still got to at least show up and,
Yeah, you think they don't show up?
feed them.
They don't show up for 6 years to fucking be like, hey, what's up with these sheep?
Yeah, if they don't show up for 6 years, there's just going to be bones
Right.
and a bunch of sheep running around. Or not. I don't know. Does Ireland have wolves? I'm not sure. Feels like
they're
dire wolves maybe is what.
Actually, I fucking want to say no.
Probably if they don't have snakes, I mean.
I think there is. Fuck. Why'd you ask that question? I hate that.
Because
I feel like there might be werewolves.
They are not currently.
Don't go out on the night of the full moon, boyo.
There are not
You get
currently
eaten by a werewolf.
wolves.
They went extinct in the late 18th century.
Right.
Granted,
right.
that's Google, so who fucking knows of this?
So at
There
the
were
time,
there had to have been because that's like a thing on a coat of arms.
yeah,
Right?
no, they had
They had
wolves. They had
wolves,
wolves
yeah,
for sure.
they had to
But
have.
they didn't have were snakes.
No, they did not.
They did not have snakes, and that is due to a climate thing with the Ice Age.
Well, also,
It was cold. It's
too,
cold.
It's too cold even now for snakes naturally to get from England to. Like that water's too cold.
Yeah,
The
they're
snake
not
would die. It's too
swimming that
cold,
way.
too cold, too far.
That's 100 miles from any other land. They're not fucking doing that.
In
In the Caribbean, sure, maybe they could fucking float for a while
Oh,
out
I'm
there.
sure.
But like, yeah, that
I'm
happens.
sure.
That happens all the time.
Yeah. Well, I feel like a snake can swim as easily as it can slither across the ground. You know,
Are you suggesting that snakes migrate?
probably.
Yeah. Sorry,
I've
I was
seen them swim.
doing a Monty Python joke, but I'm pretty sure, yeah, they do actually fucking migrate. So anyway,
I want to say something about African swallows.
African or European swallows? Are you suggesting that coconuts migrate? All right, so this motherfucker. So Maewyn Succat, he becomes a Christian priest after he gets back to his family, and then he returns to Ireland to teach Christianity. Now, the legend of St. Patrick is very, very specific in the details.
Okay.
Okay? He never used any violence. He converted thousands of Irish people to Christianity,
Mm-hmm.
right? He built a church there in Saul in Ireland.
Mhm.
He used the clover
Right.
to teach about the
The
Holy
Holy
Trinity,
Trinity, yeah, I
the
knew
Father,
that.
Son, and the Holy Ghost, right? And he drove the snakes out of Ireland. This is the legend. That's is very, very fucking specific, and it's the one that made him the patron saint of Ireland after Ireland became predominantly Catholic.
Sure.
Which it wasn't all at once. St. Patrick died when he was in his 60s. He died in 461 in Saul, Ireland. He's credited with introducing Christianity to Ireland, even though, fudge the numbers a little bit on that one. But he's associated with making the shamrock the national flower of Ireland, and he's associated with the Celtic cross, which is obviously like a huge symbol
Right.
in
Mhm.
Irish culture. Now, about 68% of Ireland identifies as Roman Catholic. And a lot of that has to do with how persuasive St. Patrick was. And the legends are very specific that he was very, very nice about everything. But if we know anything about
Treated those sheep really great.
Roman Catholicism,
Just let me slip it right in.
Roman Catholicism has
Good
never
sheep.
been
You're a good sheep.
particularly easygoing about spreading its
Anything
message.
ever?
Yeah, one of the many reasons that the Pope and the Holy See partnered with Rome was because Rome had power and they could
Mhm.
spread its message.
Mhm.
The Holy See had money, Rome needed money and had power.
Right.
So they partner up together, they start spreading the Catholic message
I
wherever.
want to say something about pilfering wealth from other countries, but
Yeah, like maybe that happened a lot.
hmm
So in any case, as nice as it is to think of this like humble man walking around Ireland with his fucking shepherd's hook and just being like, "Hey, you should love Jesus" or whatever, it is very unlikely that that's the case.
Well,
It is-
but wait. Because, listen, I would venture to say that your average Catholic priest, Catholic clergyman, whatever, is not so deeply entrenched in Holy Roman, Holy See fucking politics. I feel like most of those people, as well as most of the people who are practicing Catholics, don't think about it in those terms. You know what I mean? So they genuinely are devout to their beliefs. So, I mean, there is a case to be made that St. Patrick just truly believed this so deeply and wasn't like, you know what I mean? Like,
Hey,
it doesn't need to be.
I'm not saying that he wasn't devout in his faith.
Right.
At all.
It doesn't need to be this, and it might have been, it might not have been. I'm offering the counter argument here that it doesn't necessarily need to be some sinister, like, we'll get everybody.
No.
They'll get their
I'm not-
money. And,
I'm not saying that on the case of St. Patrick.
Right.
And I don't even think really that's how most of the Catholic Church operates because it's under this, not to be too critical, but the guise of faith in most cases.
right.
I'm saying that
If you get deep enough into the politics, then it becomes very sinister,
The-
much like any political organization. But
the Ireland of the time that we're discussing, like 400 AD, this is a fucking while ago, okay? This is still a pretty much, very settled, but not very advanced land,
Right.
Like stone cairns and
Sure,
shit like that.
sure,
A lot
sure.
of villages, a lot of polytheism all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those polytheistic beliefs would skin you alive if you walked into their village and started denouncing their gods, right? So it seems unlikely, a great miracle if it were true, but it seems unlikely that one man just walks into these villages and just demands things. And the crux of this falls on the key part of the legend that he drove the snakes out of Ireland.
okay.
The imagery of that is associated.
See a bunch of Irish people like St. Patrick being like, "Oh, I drove all the snakes away," and like other Irish people being like, "I've never seen a snake. Are there snakes?" It's like, "Oh, I already
Oh,
drove
they're
them.
fucking
I
all over
drove
the
them
place."
away already. I drove them away. Don't worry. You've never seen one because I drove it away. Don't worry. I did it totally. I
If you-
totally did it."
If you look at the imagery, okay, so the Bible says literally nothing about the way the
There were snakes this whole time.
Motherfucking God.
That's what that guy said. Oh, Mother of God. And St. Patrick's like, don't worry, I got it.
The Bible says literally nothing about the way the devil looks in any instance except for the Garden of Eden serpent, right? And even that serpent has been in a debate about whether or not that was the devil or something else going on. But
just a regular talking snake.
The serpentine look and nature of like Satan has stuck around in the imagery of Christianity for thousands of years at this point, right? And other imagery associated with devils, like the horns and the pitchfork, are very closely associated with cattle and farmers, right? So you go into these polytheistic villages, there's a very good chance that they're going to be predominantly farmers or cattle herders.
I never thought about it, but it's like, oh, Jesus was a shepherd. How do we make the devil look?
Oh, he's
like sheep are like other goats, but not with horns.
Exactly.
Let's put horns on them. Oh, okay. And sheep carry those little curved sticks. Let's make a stick that's a little bit different and more evil looking.
Stick.
It's pokey.
Yeah, but
that's the devil, baby.
This is, I mean, just the way that any culture.
Jesus was brown. Let's make him red.
Just like any way, like most cultures have always sort of like developed their theologies around like city centers or civilizations. You know, you have like, say like the Holy See, or you have like one big city state like Rome, right? And then you can vilify the people on the outside, which are predominantly going to be farmers or people living in rural areas.
Sure.
As like, bad or evil or ignorant or backwards in some way.
Especially if they're pagan.
Exactly. So the easy way to make this like comparison is you turn the snakes, I just use air quotes on the radio. You turn these snakes.
Are we on the radio?
Yeah, it might as well be.
97.9 every week on your
Rebel
FM dial.
Radio. In this context, the snake imagery of driving all the snakes out of Ireland is actually referring to driving out native religions.
Oh.
Right? So like the serpentine nature.
I was going to say the devil, but sure.
So like this is the way
native religions are the devil.
Exactly.
So, okay, back to your point about the paganism and all that. So I always have this view, and I don't know specific to Hibernia / Ireland / their druidic religions, but I genuinely feel like most of the pagan religions, not all, I guess, I don't know. It's tricky. But I was going to say, I feel like maybe I'm just thinking of like pre-Christian Romans and Greeks. Like, yes, they were pagan, but they weren't super religious either. But then I started thinking about, Druids and, Native Americans and stuff like that. And like, they were kind of like more vehemently defend their gods and like, I'll fuck you up.
Because, I mean, you're thinking about these sorts of religions, their gods are right there. It's the tree, it's the dirt, it's the sky. Right. How are you fucking with my god when my god's watching you right here? Like, I pray to the fucking dirt. It's the dirt's we're on it.
That oak tree that's been there for,
Yeah, the oak tree, the ocean, fucking this big rock is literally my god.
Yeah. I was just thinking like ancient Greeks and, again, pre-Christian Romans and even like Indians to some effect aren't that like adamantly like the fervor that comes with Christianity a lot of times, especially with conversion to Christianity. I feel like a lot of times those polytheistic people, those polytheistic religions, like they aren't so vehemently practiced that I feel like a lot of times that conversion comes a little bit easier.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. Well, there's also,
and then, of course, after a few generations of like, start off and okay, fine, I'll believe in this God guy the same way that I believed in, the tree spirits, and I don't fucking like talk to him every day, whatever. It's fucking just here.
It's just and like then any commonplace religion that you deal with
after a generation, 2, 3, 4, then suddenly that sort of Christian fervor gets sort of banged into your head over a few generations. So but I don't know anything about how they practice religion specifically.
Well, these polytheistic religions practiced by the Gauls and the Celts and the Picts,
right?
And even the Anglo-Saxon polytheism, like that comes from the Nords with the Vikings, that comes through. This is all very apparent, especially along the coastlines in Ireland. And you got gods like Agronia, which is a hypothetically reconstructed pro-Celtic river goddess.
Okay.
You got Artio, the Gaelic goddess of the bear,
But again, was that
who is just a bear.
was that? But again, was that like a once a year we'll do a sacrifice and then all the gods will be happy? And
I mean,
then-
yeah, that's very much.
And it used
yeah.
to be little girls, but now it's like a pig.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
like
hey, if a
over
bear's
time,
fucking with you, you pray to the bear goddess.
Yeah,
If the river's swelling,
yeah,
you
you
pray
leave
to
a
the river
basket of
goddess.
fish out. you
Yeah,
know,
there's
like,
something for all of these, and they're either at war with each other, they like each other, whatever. It doesn't really matter. It's just the shit's going on, and you're just kind of stuck in the middle.
Right.
And then somebody comes through like, hey, we got one
guy of all
god
of it,
to rule them all,
and you have to do
one
stuff
god
for him
to
every day.
find him, one god to bring them all.
You got to
in
waste
the
an hour of
darkness bind
you
them.
got to waste 1 hour every week, and then just be constantly thinking about him and saying things before you go to bed, or he'll kill you.
Right.
And then
So-
we have a bunch of days throughout the year you got to do things.
No, you're thinking about St. Patrick coming through. I doubt very much he came through by himself. Probably had a congregation with him that may have included some form of soldiers or bodyguards, because it would be a little silly for just the one guy in the robe with a stick to walk around and be like, hey, you should abandon your religion. You know, that's not going to be such a hot idea. So
if he spoke Gaelic, maybe.
And I'm not saying that he came through like slaughtering people. That may very well have not happened in any respect. But I am saying that there was definitely some show of force.
You think so?
There was something a little more coercive involved.
Is that historically accurate? Like, or is this just? Are you just
Well, it's-
opining here?
The historical accuracy of the story is just legend,
Right.
right? And if you wanna say, okay, cool, he just walked around with a stick.
Well, no. If he was there for several years, there's a possibility that he learned how those people dress. He learned their language, and that makes it a lot easier to walk into a village and be like, "Hey, listen to this, guys."
But think of the climate of the time, right?
Whereas if
So-
one of us is way different than a bunch of fucking Roman soldiers landing on your shores.
He was there for several years, right? He escaped,
Mhm.
came back, became a priest,
Mhm.
and then came back on a mission trip to convert people.
By the way, do you know what his writings were in terms of his escape?
He wrote a book called the Confessio,
Yeah.
or St. Patrick's
The
Confessions.
Confessions, yeah.
Which you're pretty much pretty straightforward. Just like I spoke with God, He
Yeah.
gave me a holy mission.
It was a lot of God spoke to me, but in terms of him escaping, he wrote that God spoke to him and told him that his ship was waiting, and that it was 200 miles away, and so this is according to St. Patrick. I don't believe a fucking word of it, but
an old
frankly-
black woman walked past singing a song, and he hopped the fence and ran with her.
Morgan Freeman dressed in all white parted the clouds, and so he just started walking in a direction, and then he got to the sea, and there was a ship there.
It turns out he could have left anytime he fucking wanted. He was like, I'm done with these sheep. I'm
These
outta
sheep
here.
basically watch themselves.
Fuck
I'm
these
fucking-
sheep. I'm out.
I gotta watch them eat grass all day and shit. They can do that on their own.
What I'm saying, if the story of him doing all these things was as true as written, like boom, right?
His version,
Right.
yeah.
And then the Catholic Church released these, like, mind you, the church is the only source you're going to get for like printed words at this time.
Oh yeah.
So the Catholic Church is releasing this documentation of his heroic struggle and journey, right? And he goes back to the place that he escaped from to convert. It would be weird to think that there wasn't the power of the church behind him,
Right.
and with-
Softly edited.
exactly, and having already committed this amount of money
Yeah.
to his tutelage to printing these words.
No. They're so benevolent,
Right.
That
And-
they just
And then you get the imagery
released
of like,
it with no ulterior motives whatsoever.
the snakes being driven out of Ireland, which is
Right.
direct link to him abolishing the native religions of the area. That's a little more violent of an image of him like driving them out
Yeah.
than it is being like, hey snakes, why don't you get the fuck out of here? What do you think? It's like the power of God pushes them to the sea.
Oh,
That
Jesus.
kind of shit.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, there is a case to be made that the Catholic Church released those writings. We're like, yeah, no, St. Patrick totally wrote this.
Yeah,
This is
exactly. Yeah,
all his
exactly, yeah.
words. Wink, wink. It's,
I thought you were about to say this. The Catholic Church released the snakes.
Oh, how did all these
shit, there's
snakes
snakes
get
here.
here?
Look, I have a plan. We take the snakes to the. That's my Italian. that's my Roman.
We're taking a
We're
snake.
taking the snakes to
Jesus
the Ireland.
Christ.
I can't get the image out of my head of him. I can't get the image out of my head.
Of like a guy in a Pope hat just dumping baskets of snakes.
But then like waiting until somebody was there to witness it, and then they get St. Patrick with a fucking stick running after him.
Get off the ship. Go, go, go. Get the snakes. Go.
Something else that really should be like thought of here is that unlike most places that are converted to Christianity, there's no tradition of like a New Testament figure visiting Ireland, right? So
You mean like your Jesuses and your John the
exactly.
Baptists and all that?
Joseph of Arimathea was said to have come to Britain. Mary Magdalene,
Shut
Martha,
up.
and Lazarus of
I don't
Bethany
believe that.
came to France.
I don't believe
this is
that.
all doctrine of the church. You don't have to believe that he fucking did it because he didn't. That's insane. But like the Mormon church says that Jesus appeared in fucking Utah. That's what I'm saying. Like
Okay,
this,
fair enough,
So
fair
there
enough,
was
fair
no like doctrine in place, and so yeah, sure, we got one in England. Like fuck, there's a whole other big ass island
Yeah.
out there. We need a guy.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that one.
John the Baptist had a chateau in the south of France. I mean, fucking Jesus Christ.
I mean, there were different stages of Christianity in Ireland during like the 5th century, but like their native Christian pre-patrician, they're called, figures like Alibe, Aban, Ciaran, and Declan, later venerated as saints. So you've got like different Christian figures in Ireland, but they're not like the big guy.
They started there, yeah.
They're not like, oh, and
Yeah.
like there's weird shit.
They're the
there that's, like-
openers.
they're like weird little stories. Like they knew Jesus when the sky darkened and the image of fucking Christ popped in their head, and they knew that he'd been crucified way before any other shit happened. Like it's all it's just dumb jack off bullshit like that. You know, so, like it's just and it rained blood or some shit.
I
It's
don't
fucking
know how people
stupid.
believe it. And I was raised in the Catholic Church and went to fucking Catholic school most of my life, and it just doesn't make sense to me how you go, oh, yeah, okay. That makes
like
sense.
there are these like venerated
Seems like a pretty
saints-
powerful guy up there. I guess I'm
venerated
gonna go to
saints
church.
from Ireland that are supposed to have like traveled to Rome and shit. But it's like so much easier to imagine that these are completely fictional characters.
Yeah. God
Right?
almighty. I can't even say my normal God Almighty's and Jesus is Christ is when we're talking about religion stuff.
So in general, there is a lot of controversy surrounding what the real story of like St. Patrick driving the snakes out entails.
Okay.
Some people say that there was like a genocide, like he went around just fucking wiping people out, but there is literally no evidence of that. There's no evidence of any of this shit, essentially, except for documentation of St. Patrick existing and then things that the church said happened.
Okay.
You know, it's that like there were a bunch of peasants who were like, the damnedest thing, I saw these fucking snakes running out. I never saw a snake before.
That's what I'm saying. The Irish guy being like, "Oh, I've never seen one before."
You know, so
You drove them out, did you?
St. Patrick's Day,
It's a miracle.
St. Patrick's Day is a celebration of the death of St. Patrick, who became the patron saint according to the Catholic Church, right? And with 68% of the population being Catholic, it kind of just becomes the doctrine of the country, right? So he becomes patron saint, and then the imagery of the Celtic cross, the imagery of the Trinity as the shamrock, all this shit becomes ingrained into the culture, and it just becomes bled into this is what Irish is.
Mm-hmm.
It is complete indoctrination, really. But I'm not saying it in a negative way. It's just the way that cultures evolve, essentially. Yeah. I'm not saying like fucking you dumb Irish fucks. Like this is just this is my culture as well. It's just the culture I grew up with.
Yeah.
I sometimes like.
You're not saying that he fucked sheep like Patrick said, right?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not saying that he fucked sheep. I'm surmising he may have, but I mean, anything's possible.
I'm going on record, 100% he fucked sheep.
He fucked sheep.
6 years by himself on the hills with nothing but sheep. He fucked sheep. He fucked sheep. Listen, when that's all you got, sometimes you got to bite the bullet. But I'm also not saying if in 400 AD, if I was on a hill by myself with a bunch of sheep for 6 years, that I wouldn't fuck a sheep.
For all of our Irish listeners,
I might fuck a sheep.
I honestly don't know what to say about this episode.
And I'm 27% Irish, so
And also,
at least 27% of you might fuck a sheep.
I am positive that this is rife with inaccuracies in the eyes of anyone from Ireland. Please send us a letter. Send us we'll do.
Oh, that's blasphemy!
Oh God, fuck me. Just send us an email or something. We'll do. We'll read it on air. I don't care how bad it is. Can
we read it in an Irish accent?
Yeah.
Righty, boy. You blasphemous pig fucker. How dare you talk about St. Patrick that way?
I mean, you don't fucking know. Like, none of you fucking know what's going on.
nobody knows.
This is all surmising
We don't know.
and reading context clues. That's all we do on this fucking show anyway. This is context clues, and I'm very rarely wrong about shit.
Oh, wow. Big statement there, but
I mean, if I'm making a statement, it's usually pretty on point. And my statement is
just
very...
ask Riley. He'll tell you.
My statement, I mean, like, if I'm not saying like I'll be historically accurate to a T, but if I'm making a statement as general as it seems like there's more to this story than meets the eye,
Right.
that's because they're fucking
Oh,
idiots.
well, yeah, same.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if I say, like, 6 years on a hill alone with some sheep, you probably fucked some sheep, then it's probably also accurate.
I said there's a chance he fucked some sheep, which is true.
Well, there's always a chance, baby.
There's always a chance. If you got some alone time and a sheep,
I'm really glad I derailed this.
There's a chance that you might pull up to your house today and there's just a lone sheep in the front yard and you go, is this a sign?
You know what? You want to know? You want to know why the conversation goes this way? You want to know why we're talking like this? Because all that I've gotten my entire goddamn life, being Irish, trying to embrace my culture, is fucking green beer and shillelaghs and hard to hate hard. Maybe if somebody had extended a fucking educational hand and been like, hey, let's talk about your real culture. But no, what I got was fucking boiled fucking beef and cabbage.
I mean,
bullshit.
you inherited the alcoholism, so
That's true. That has done great for me. That has been great.
Preaching to the choir, bud.
So thanks, Ireland. Thanks for fucking nothing.
The end.
Anyway, so the Irish began celebrating St. Patrick's Day as a feast in the 9th or 10th century. So this is fucking 500 years after St. Patrick's Day.
Sure.
Right? The Catholic Church made it an official feast day in the early 17th century. So Ireland was celebrating it for a very long time, right? In the 9th and 10th centuries. The Catholic Church made it official in the 17th century.
Which I said earlier that they celebrated in Ireland.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, that's all I was saying.
You were
earlier.
right.
Thank you. That's all I wanted.
But we're Americans, so I want to talk about the first time it was celebrated in America.
Okay.
The first St. Patrick's Day parade was held in 1601. The first parade was held in 1601.
Where was it? Like Santa Claus, Indiana?
In a Spanish colony.
Oh, okay.
In what is now known as St. Augustine,
Shut the fuck
Florida.
up,
No,
really?
I almost said that earlier.
I'm not even
As a joke.
fucking joking. It is
That's crazy.
absolutely accurate. It happened in 1601. There were 2 Irish people. Right? So I want you this goes to my whole fucking point. There were like 2 Irish people in the entire fucking state of Florida at that point, right? So
And they're like, watch this, you fucking conquistadors.
So no. So what about this celebration had to do with Ireland? You think that these 2 Irishmen organized this whole thing? Or do you think it was the Catholic colony? Right?
God damn it. I want to believe.
There
I
you go,
desperately
motherfucker.
I desperately want to believe that it was just 2 very whimsical Irishmen.
That'd be great.
Who were
That'd be
like-
great. But
who
you
were
know
like,
what?
We have to show these Spaniards
Odds are
how we do it back home.
those 2 Irishmen probably not there of their own fucking accord.
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
1601 in a Spanish colony?
I don't know. That's I mean, it would be crazy to say that there weren't well-traveled Irishmen capable of sailing.
You're right. You're right. We've talked about that
galleons
before.
and such. So, I mean, maybe I'm looking at this whole fucking thing through rose-colored goggles here, but I want to believe that it was just 2 whimsical Irishmen who were just like, we'll show you. We've been on this fucking ship with you Spaniards for long enough. We're doing all things your way. Today's March 17th. We're going to do a thing that we do at home, and you guys are going to get drunk with us. But there is a strong case to be made, like, new colony, new people to convert.
Well,
Let's give them a party.
The first real big Irish celebration in the United States was in Boston in 1760. So it was 150 years after fucking the original parade in the Catholic colony of St. Augustine. The first St. Patrick's Day parade in New York was held in 1762. So like New England was kind of sweeping through because fucking the Irish were coming in hard. Fucking taking up a lot of space. Still to this day, like the New England big cities, New York, Boston. These are like the massive Irish centers. And then even further down the East Coast, Savannah's got a big
one. They all rode
one.
their potato boats over here.
Yeah, so they came in with their potato boats. Yeah, that's it.
The whole episode?
I mean, essentially, because like the only thing that comes after that is this is now the Irish culture, especially in America. This is what is proliferated.
Right.
And I spent about 45 minutes looking for different celebrations of St. Patrick's Day, differential ideas of how you would celebrate
other countries.
In other countries, it is all drinking beer, wearing green, shamrocks, fucking corned beef and cabbage.
In all the other countries.
All countries.
Okay.
This is without like just flat across
I don't
the board.
think we do St. Patrick's Day in Brazil. Just
It's just, I mean, just any place that does that, it's all, that is the Irish culture, and that is what's being proliferated, creating this like weird monoculture.
It did permeate, and Irish culture just became St. Patrick's Day culture, which is fucking weird.
Well, and also, I mean, like we were going to do that episode about the Troubles. Pretty interesting that the patron saint of Ireland and the culture of Ireland is proliferated around the world is Catholic. Mm-hmm. You got a lot of fucking Protestants in Northern Ireland, bud.
That's true.
You know, like everything's super fucking green in that country until you get to the orange part. You know, which so it just feels like this weird.
Yeah, but there's still a lot of tension there.
Yeah, of course there is. But
to
like
this day, like literally,
But look at the propaganda machine that's saying that this is Ireland.
Right.
So
interesting story. Back to what I said about not going to Ireland and ordering an Irish car bomb. Several years, over a decade ago, I was running a bar, and we hired a guy from Ireland. Right, John was his name. Fucking sweetheart of a man, big dude. So I hired him. And, you know, he came in, he interviewed, and he had just moved from Ireland. His sister lived in St. Augustine, and he was moving here. He had some bartending experience way back, but he told me that he was a retired police officer. And I was like, okay, he's probably in his mid 40s. And I was like, okay, didn't really get into it. So hired him. Everybody at the fucking bar loved him. Like I said, sweetheart of a man. And one day he comes to me. He was bartending. I was like in the office or something. And he comes to me and he's got this look of like absolute fucking terror on his face. And he was like, can I ask you a question? And I said, yeah, what's up? And he was like, what the fuck is an Irish car bomb?
Ooh.
And I was like, oh, it's a, you know, and I explained the drink to him, half a pint of Guinness and then a shot of, and he's like, that's a drink here. And I said, yeah. I said, pretty popular one. I was like, you're going to hear it a lot. And he was like, okay. And he just kind of looked like, he had this look, right? And I was like, so at the end of the night, I was like, did you take, because I mean, I know enough of the history of Ireland to be like, did that sort of take you aback? Turns out he was a police officer in Belfast.
Oh, fuck. During the Troubles.
The Troubles, my ass. This was like 13 years ago, 12 years ago. He 13, 14.
I mean, the shit hasn't really gone away. It's still bopping around. But
he retired from the force and moved to the States with his sister because his partner had gotten fucking killed in a car bombing.
Oh, God damn.
And I was like, oh,
whoa,
no. I was like, I will put signage up. We will change the name. We could turn it into fucking anything else. We could change the name. These names are arbitrary and don't matter at all. And like, I remember telling my because I had a few regulars that would always do car bombs, and I'd be like, can we call it something else? Like, or just car bomb? No, not car bomb. No, can we just call it a fucking Irish breakfast? No, it's a different shot. Can we call it, you know, like I remember like sitting there and like trying to workshop a different name. And I can't remember what we settled on, but like nobody ordered
Belfast Boilermaker.
That would have been a good one.
Yeah.
That's actually very appropriate. I like that one. Shit. That's a really good one. But yeah, I remember him telling me that story and like seeing this big Irish jolly guy most of the time, like looking incredibly sad because this is like partners several years.
That's fucked.
And I was like, oh my God. Jesus Christ. Crazy.
I have a similar kind of story. I was at the St. George Tavern one time, and there was like an Irish guy who was just a traveler, a regular old traveling guy there from Ireland. And he had a thick accent, funny guy. Everybody's hanging out, and somebody came out and was like, hey, can I buy you an Irish car bomb? He said, yeah, if I can buy you a flaming World Trade Center.
Oh, boy. I mean, I feel like enough time has passed that might turn into a shot at some point.
Jesus Christ. I don't even want to think about it. But yeah, so these are all my comments on St. Patrick's Day. In general, though, I don't want to take away the fun of the fucking holiday from people. You know, I think it's good to celebrate culture. It's good to enjoy yourself for one, you know, and there are hundreds of thousands of Irish people that would be like, this is our shit. Don't fuck with us.
But
you know?
I feel like I don't feel like, I know for a fact, there's much more to Irish culture than, you know, wearing green and fucking shamrocks and getting
Fucking
shithoused.
Tell that to St. Patrick's Day then. You know?
You know what? Actually, speaking of St. Patrick's Day and just like, it is obviously, we're not shitting on the celebration of St. Patrick's Day in terms of it being a really fun party, because it is. And we've all celebrated it, I'm sure, to excess. But when you're
a time or two, maybe.
Maybe.
One year I was in Pittsburgh for my brother-in-law's bachelor party, and I think I've talked about it on this podcast before. St. Patrick's Day falls on March 17th. As a matter of fact, this episode will come out on St. Patrick's Day. And this was the week before. This was on March 10th. Fell on a Saturday. And that was the day of his bachelor party. And so we're going out in South Pittsburgh, I guess is what it's called. It's like Carson Street or some shit like that. There's a bunch of fucking bars and shit. And
Pittsburgh's
fun
a
place.
big St. Patty's town.
Yes.
Yeah.
There were a ton of people running around with fucking St. Patrick's Day with the big glasses and the fucking bucket hats and all green and yada, yada, yada. So we go to this place to have lunch and get some, you know, start drinking, start the bachelor party. And they're serving green beers. And so we're all sitting there, and, you know, some of the guys were like, is today St. Patrick's Day? And I was like, no. And they're like, are you sure? And I was like, my fucking name's Patrick. I know what day St. Patrick's Day is. I've remembered it since a kid, like my birthday. It's March 17th. I know for a fact. And they were like, well, that's fucking weird. So at some point I pulled our waitress aside and I said, because there were people in there with the green beads and, you know, again, all the St. Patrick's Day gear. And I was like, what's going on with all this St. Patrick's Day stuff? You know, you're a week early, right? And she goes, yeah, it's St. Practice Day.
Wow.
And I was like, shut the fuck up.
That's
and she's
genius.
like, it's a big Pittsburgh thing. We do it every year, the week before St. Patrick's Day. Everybody
Saint
on March
Practice
10th
Day.
does St. Practice Day.
That's
That's
And I was like,
fucking rad, actually. I
that's
like
so
it.
I gotta.
cool.
That's my son Maxwell's birthday. Is
March 10th?
He was supposed to be born on March 7th on St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Which is Tim's birthday. Our buddy Tim.
Yeah.
It's his birthday, and he was a week early.
Yeah, you
So
dodged a bullet
yeah.
on that one, honestly.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I was hoping
St. Practice Day. Okay.
my son was born on September 1st. And that year, 2001, I think Labor Day fell on the 4th or the 5th. And my joke with my ex was, you're going to have a baby on Labor Day. You're going to the labor on Labor Day.
My daughter was born on September 11th.
That's right.
Yeah, 2011.
I either wanted that and kind of the same amount. I wanted him to be born on the 3rd of September. So I could always sing Papa Was
It
a
was the
Rolling
3rd of
Stone. to
September,
him.
a day I'll always remember.
Yeah, exactly.
There
Yes, I
was
will.
a day, my day that he died.
Yeah, I really wanted to sing that to him every year.
I was born on Canada Day, which means nothing to me.
I was born May 25th, which is not something.
Who do you share a birthday with?
I don't know. Who gives a fuck?
You don't know anybody you share a birthday with?
I don't know. Burt Reynolds or something.
Okay. Drew?
I'm forgetting.
I remember two people I share a birthday with.
What's your birthday, Patrick?
My birthday's April 28th.
That's right.
I share a birthday with two people that I always remember. And it's Saddam Hussein
Wow.
Oh,
and Jessica Alba.
Best of both worlds.
Yeah. Well, Jessica Alba and I shared
Hey!
same day and year.
Hey, that's actually surprisingly cool. Killian Murphy.
Do you really?
Yeah. A very staunch Irishman that
Yeah.
refuses to be referred to as British
Yeah.
because of,
The Troubles?
Yes.
a bunch of nobodies and
Hey, and Ian McKellen.
July 1st.
Wow. Another
that's
Irishman.
cool.
Is he Irish or
No, I think he's just British.
is he English?
God, I got some good fucking people, actually. Frank Oz. That's just more for nerds than anything. Mike
Yeah.
Myers.
Okay.
July 1st.
The murderer. Michael Myers, the serial killer?
What? No. The love guru.
Leatherface? The love
The guru. Oh, Dimitri Martin. Whatever. I'm done looking at these.
Oh boy. Just fucking went downhill quick.
All right, July 1st, a bunch of nobodies. Princess Di, Pam Anderson, and you'll like this one, Liv Tyler.
I love Liv Tyler.
Interesting.
Arwen
Odwin.
of something. The rest of her name I remember. I don't remember.
And Dan
I don't
Aykroyd.
Arwen, daughter of Elrond. Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah, July 1st.
Dude, I just watched that Saturday Night Live movie. Saturday night on Netflix. It's about like the first day of Saturday Night Live.
SATURDAY.
Night. But it's pretty good in general. It does like a really good like simulacrum of like the energy of that first episode.
Singing that song, by the way, has a little bit of a meta quality right now because in the movie, the Mike Myers movie, So I Married an Axe Murderer, Scottish. Damn it,
yeah,
Scottish dad
Scottish.
sings that song.
S-A-T-U-R-D-A-Y.
His Scottish dad, who is played by Mike Murphy.
Yeah,
Or Mike
Murphy.
Murphy.
Mike Murphy. Jesus Christ. But
Was Mike Murphy RoboCop? No, that wasn't Mike.
In the Saturday Night movie,
What was RoboCop's name?
his name was Murphy.
Yeah, but he had a first name. Murphy Brown.
No. It's
I'm fucking looking it up. God damn.
This has gone off the rails. You should have had more
Peter
notes,
Weller.
Riley.
His name's Peter Weller.
Yeah.
That's the actor's name.
Yeah.
That
You ever
doesn't
see
help me.
you ever see the pictures of Peter Weller playing the trombone
No.
in the RoboCop suit? He was super depressed during the filming, and he would just like say off to the side, maybe not, or the trumpet, not the trombone. So
Okay.
Trombone's a little crazy.
Still cool.
Alex Murphy.
Alex
Alex
Murphy.
Murphy,
What was I saying? So the Saturday Night movie, you said that you share a birthday with Dan Aykroyd.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
In that movie, they do really good jobs of recreating the cast, and everybody does a fantastic. It's very impressive how they manage to like, especially the Chevy Chase guy is all very on point. And then the guy who's Dan Aykroyd plays Dan Aykroyd great, but he's also real sexy.
What?
He's like picking up chicks, and he's really smart, and he's like doing all this shit. And you're like, that's not the weird autistic fucking weirdo that I know is Dan Aykroyd.
I mean, is that what he was known for?
apparently,
at the time?
like the first season of Saturday Night Live, he was like the cool one.
Oh.
And he just became weirder and weirder over time. And then I'm telling you, it's going to be great for the scene. The ghost is floating over me. She unzips my fly. You cut to my face, and I go, ah.
People found out he was Canadian, and he just had to lean into it. And he was like, fuck, all right. I had a good run while they thought I was American. Are we wrapping? This one's going to be a little bit short, I
It's
think.
a little bit shorter. Whatever.
okay.
Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody.
Happy St. Patrick's
I
Day.
hope you enjoy it in any way that you can. I will.
Yeah, what are you going to be doing?
Sitting at home.
Falling off the wagon.
Neither of us. you want to get a beer?
Yeah, fuck yeah. You know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go worship some sort of tree god in a copse with a gourd.
Yeah, dress in a long flowing robe.
Yeah, it's
Covering your face.
I don't think they make NA like Guinnesses and shit.
No, I don't think so. They should though. That'd be good. I'd drink one of them.
They make O'Douls.
Yeah, but like, is it like
That's like the
but, like, a
OG
stout?
fake beer.
No.
I want
It's a fucking shitty lager.
It
Stout.
sucks.
I know I've had O'Doul's. I'm not drinking that shit.
Yeah. I'm just saying it's an Irish, quote unquote, Irish NA.
Meh.
Mm.
All right. Well, thank you
Thank
guys
you
for
guys
listening.
tuning in.
If you like
Thank
this show, best way you guys can tell us is leave us a rating, leave us a review. Apple Podcast is really an important one. If you guys are listening on Apple Podcast, please go down to the bottom of our page, leave us a rating, leave us a review, tell us what you like about the show. Spotify, leave us a comment telling us what you liked about the show. Send us an email, deleteeverythingpodcast@gmail.com. We like that too. And if you really, really, really want to support us beyond that, then patreon.com/deleteeverythingpodcast. You will get bonus episodes every week. Fun shit, funny shit, less material, less information, more unhinged nonsense.
This one was a little unhinged nonsense, actually.
This was a
but-
lot of unhinged nonsense.
But you gotta understand. Whatever.
There is a small degree of regret that I didn't do the whole thing in an Irish accent.
Oh, that would have been awful.
Yeah, it would have been.
Quick, can we get one more Billy Connolly out of you?
What do you want me to say?
I think we should reshoot the whole thing. No.
Just my part.
Or I'll just keep Patrick here. We'll redub all of his shit.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I will redub the whole thing, but you have to write the script for it so I know when to come in and come out.
If you think I won't do that, I fucking will.
Please don't. Please don't. All right,
We
Billy
got 2
Connolly.
weeks until
Billy
his
Connolly.
releases, baby.
Billy Connolly. What was that? I did the Boondock Saints quote already earlier.
Yeah.
What was another movie? What's another famous quote of his from a movie?
Oh fuck. Isn't he in a Star Trek?
Well, I could also just do that quote again because I don't think we did it.
Yeah, I don't think you did it.
I think we did it live.
Yeah.
Boondock Saints interior courtroom. The brothers have recently reunited with their Irish father, who was just recently a hitman for the Irish mob, and they are now going to take out the Irish mob in a Boston courtroom and show the world who they are and that they won't tolerate.
Don't explain
this.
the Boondock Saints. Just fucking do it.
Okay. Ready? Say action.
Action.
You people have been chosen to reveal our existence to the world.
That's it. That's it.
Scene.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And now me better be paying me and me pot of gold, lad. Ah, fuck